The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read. Your source for news, politics, sports, and all things trending. Here's your host, Marcus Gentry.
Welcome to the Daily Read, and I am your host, Marcus Gentry. I want to congratulate you guys for making it to a new year. This is season 7, and we're going to kick things off right this year with a subject that has touched my heart and really disturbed me. And I think this be best to kick the season off with this show. It's about giving flowers to my mother while she's still here. I've expressed I loved her several times, but I really want to express it to the world. And this is a reminder for all of you churchgoers and church members that know her. She will be at the VA medical facility in Humboldt, Tennessee. And this is for her church members in Milan and church members in Trenton that she's been going to church with for years. I think we should give her our flowers. We should give our elders our flowers, their flowers while they're here. I saw strength in my mom fade out, but then there was a reminder of that strength when that rehabilitation specialist came in and he told her to stand up. We're going to teach you how to walk again. We're going to teach you how to connect your brain to your muscles again. And I saw my mom's eyes light up, and I saw that same strength in there when she grabbed that walker and slowly got to her feet. It almost brought tears to my eyes. And this is where I'm giving my mom her flowers while she's here. She's one of the strongest women I know, and I want to dedicate this show to her. You gotta excuse me, my generator just kicked in. What I'm about to talk about is 2 subjects that's going to be in my book. I'm going to do an autobiography. Talking about things I've done and places I've been in my life. The people I've met, people I've seen over time. And I got to talk about the strength that was in my life to the time I was 16, 17, 18, actually all my life. Even after I left home, she still was that shadow, making sure the family was okay. And I'm gonna play a couple of clips here. If you're seeing me on YouTube or if you're seeing me on Iheart Radio, because I think Iheart Radio shows videos now. But if you see me on Iheart Radio and you see this picture right here, this was a family gathering that we did for Thanksgiving, I think. And we had an old photo. You know how they had those reaction reenactment videos where people take old photos and then try to reenact it? Well, this photo right here, my baby sister is over here. She's too big to sit on mom's lap, so we couldn't fully reenact this picture. You know what I'm saying? We couldn't fully reenact this picture, but this is us like in the 89, 90, 88, 89, 90. It was one of them years. This was us right here. And mom took us everywhere. She did. She took us everywhere. She showed strength and resilience where others would have given up. You see mothers today give up their kids to their grandparents and all kinds of stuff. But she showed strength and resilience. Let me gather things I want to say. this picture right here is the picture where we was at the hospital, and that's the specialist right there who helps stroke victims or stroke patients learn how to walk and use their arms again. And it hurts you when you see such strength in a person, like almost leave their body after a stroke or a heart attack or things like that. But when that man told her to get up on her feet, we're going to get you walking again. And she grabbed that, she said, okay. She grabbed that walker, and she slowly rose to her feet. And he taught her how to spread her feet to keep herself balanced. That's the woman I grew up with right there. That right there. And that's why I want to give her flowers. So I'm going to talk about two stories. For the many people that know her in Tennessee, that went to church with her for 10, 20 years, we had a life before we came to Tennessee. And many of my siblings don't know that life because they were babies, and I was the oldest. I can remember in detail most of the places we've been before we even landed in Tennessee. And we was well traveled. You know, Mom wanted to find a way to get us out the gang life, the street life, that my uncles and the people around us, and you know, not saying we were bad people or in the streets like that, but just being in Chicago, period, was dangerous. Absolutely dangerous. One of my best friends got shot, and he was numbered like 12, 13 years old. It was a home invasion. His older brother was out selling powder packs. If you don't know what a powder pack is, you don't want to know. And they came in and robbed him. And I think that was like the straw that broke the camel's back for my mom, because I used to kick it with this kid. He lived next door, because we had what you call basement apartments. In duplexes, we had basement apartments. And him and his mother and them used to live in the basement apartment. And he would come outside the basement apartment, and we would play Spider-Man. I would throw my Spider-Man with the Spider-Man parachute out the window on the second floor, because we lived on the second floor. And he would catch it, bring it back up, I would go down, and that's the games we played, like that, pitching marbles and things like that. So when the police take them off and started investigating and people got shot next door, I think that was the calling card for my mother to get out. That was it. She met this guy, my brother's father. Like I said, this is going to be from my book. I'm gonna put stories of my past in my book, and the things, the places I've been, the people I've met, things I've been through, and I'm gonna have a section in there dedicated to the strength in my mother. I think that's needed to know of the people that raised you. I'm gonna have a section there about my aunts and my uncles and the things that they've been through, and especially grandma. But this is going to be an excerpt out of my book, From Gangbanger to Stock Trader. And I've slowly been writing on it, and I'm going to finish it off maybe a year, maybe another year. I'll probably finish it off. But this is one of the excerpts out of my book. My mom married my brother's father. He's from Mississippi, but they met in Chicago. And for Mom, that was a way out, because she had already tried to leave Chicago with my uncle. They joined the church in New York, went to New York, and then grandfather passed, Ron Gentry. My grandfather passed, so mom came back to Chicago to help my grandmother with my aunts, because my aunts were like her little sister. They were babies. They weren't babies, but they were in their late teens. And grandma, she couldn't handle them like that without grandfather. So mom stayed back in Chicago, and then my uncle moved to Florida. That's going to be important later on when I keep telling you the story, how my uncle moved to Florida. So she met Bernard, and I'm not going to say his last name, but she met Bernard in Chicago, and he was in the military. He was visiting, and they wound up getting married, and he moved us to Oklahoma. And mom thought it was a fresh start out of Chicago. You know, this was like a come up for her. Come up for women today is different when it comes to men. But in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, your come up was different. You wanted a career man instead of just a rich man. And like I said, the come up for women today is different from yesteryear. Matter of fact, the women are just different, period, from yesteryear. They claim they tough, they got the toughness, but they don't. They're mostly beggars and whores. The women of yesteryear weren't beggars and whores. You know, they went out and got it, period. So when they said that I don't need no man, I want a man, it's a slogan today. It's not a fact. It's a slogan that some of these women use. So when we went to Oklahoma, the man started cheating and beating on my mom. Now mind you, they would always argue in the bedroom, but I can tell he probably put hands on her. So me being a scrawny kid and having smaller siblings at the age of 12, 13, I really wasn't that big, but I had that Chicago mentality. You mess with my family, I'm gonna try to kill you. So one day he got bold, and my mother caught him cheating with a woman, and he punched her, not slapped her. He punched my mother. I ran at this guy, full speed, trying to punch at him. He grabbed me by my neck and grabbed me by the loop of my belt, my pants, the loop where the belt goes in, and slung me across the room, and I hit the wall. Now mind you, I'm just a little scrawny kid, but I'm like Scrappy-Doo. I bounces up and runs in the kitchen and tried to grab a knife, but I was so angry, I grabbed the biggest thing I could find, which was I don't know the exact name of it, but many people use it to turn barbecue, the barbecue forks. They're real long. That was the biggest and fastest thing I can grab that looked as sharp on the end. So I grabbed the barbecue fork. It was real long. I ran back in the living room and I crouched down ready to strike. My mother, I was like an anime figure, seriously. For some of you who like to watch anime, this shit was crazy. Like, before I even knew what anime even existed, this is like the 80s. And my mother stuck her hand out and grabbed me. And kids today don't understand the shop classes we had when we were kids. They taught us trades in school, junior high and high school. And I had made a paddle that they used to paddle kids with. That was one of our projects. We made a paddle and we inscribed our name on it inside a wood shop class. So my mother grabbed me. She told me not to go over there. She reached up, because she hung it on the wall. She was proud of it. She hung it on the wall. She grabbed a paddle and was still there. You don't ever hit my son again like that. He saw it in his eyes that he was going to be bloody or probably dead in that house if he stayed there any longer. Because I was going to try to kill him in his sleep. And if my mother would have swung that paddle at him, I would have slipped up behind him and gutted him. I would have stuck that barbecue fork in his stomach. The man backed up, went in his bedroom, went in the bedroom. My little brother started crying. He packed a duffel bag full of his clothes, jumped in his Grand Dam. He had a Grand Dam Fiat, what is they called? Thunderbirds. The cars with the eagle on the front. And the Grand Dams, those were the cars back then. And he had one of them souped up with the motor sticking out the hood of the car. He thought he was the shit, you know. And we never saw him again. Mom saw him again, but she already knew, because I told her, if I ever see dude again, I'm going to try to kill him. And I never saw that man again. My brother told me his father passed in Mississippi. That's where he was originally from. But I never got a chance to see that man again. And I always promised I was going to hurt him if I ever did. I don't care how old he was. I was going to slap the shit out of him. And now it would be more effective because I'm older and I'm bigger. You know, back then, hell, I was he was like a muscle man. He was a military soldier on the Fort Base over there in Oklahoma, and he was huge. So we wound up moving back to Chicago. And mind you now, for all my friends in Tennessee and North Carolina, this was before we even went to those states. All of this was happening. So now we goes to Chicago, and remember I told you to stick a pin in it when my uncle moved to Florida, because my mom and my uncle were the older kids, and they moved to New York together, trying to find a better way or a better life outside of Chicago, but they wound up coming back. So mom stayed to help my grandmother with her kids, with the rest of her kids, and my uncle moved to Florida. So now this goes into the second story. And remember, all of this is going to be in my book, From Gangbanger to Stock Trader. And it'll basically be an autobiography of the things that I've been through to get to where the level I'm at. And it's going to have, it's funny, I'm going to have it light. Even though some of the stuff in it might sound tragic or crazy, I'm going to try to have fun with it, you know, because when you grow up with trauma, or you have a lot of violence, your sense of humility or your sense of comedy, that's the word I want to use, comedy. Your sense of comedy is different from everybody else's. I can see a guy rob a girl, don't kill her. I can see a guy rob a girl, don't kill her, but slap her across the head with a pistol. And the way her ponytail twirls around like a helicopter, me and my buddies would laugh at it. Like, man, you see dude hit that girl across the head with that pistol? That's the type of dark humor that you develop when you be around people who with the shit, people who will hurt you, or you will hurt them. When you're around people who drive down your street, see you and your buddy sitting out there and shoot at the house. When you around women that'll set you up and men that will kill you or rob you, when you around gangbangers, people who will try to hurt you because you wear red or blue, you develop a sense of humor, and it's like it's hard to explain. But I'm sure the men and women out there who have been through a lot of things can understand what I'm trying to convey. It's not something that a normal person who grew up in Beverly Hills with a trust fund would ever understand. They would probably be like, well, why he's laughing at that? That's crazy. You wouldn't understand. I want to get to my second story because I want to show you guys the strength of this woman, my mother. I want to show you guys the strength of my mother, and I'm going to give her flowers while she's here. This second story goes to Florida. This second story goes to Florida, where my uncle in Miami, he moved to Miami, and we went down there because, you know, my uncle heard about mom's failed marriage and how he used to jump on her and stuff. So he was like, sister, come on down here. It's good down here. The weather's nice. And now, mind you, at the time, I was just starting to gangbang for real after we moved back from Oklahoma. I saw solace in that. I saw community, you know, in that. I saw camaraderie, friendship. I developed a closer relationship with my uncles, even though some of them was on heroin and smoked them lace weed and shit like that. But I didn't want to leave. But mom had other ideas on the direction that she wanted her family to go, and it wasn't violence, prison, and destruction. And I commend her for that, because regardless of what I want, she made that decision to get us out of there. So we goes to Florida. She packed us up in that green station wagon, and my little brother loved to jump in that back seat back there, and we headed south. We get there, we made a fun trip out of it. I was kind of grumpy because I didn't want to leave Chicago. You know, I don't care how poor we was, you know, all my cousins there, all my family there, you know, that's where we was, that's our place, that's our home. Now let me set this up for you so you can understand Miami and the dynamics of Miami. Yes, Miami have colored people, black Cubans, black Haitians, black Puerto Ricans, Venezuelans. Those people don't like us. If you go to their country, yeah, they'll spend your American dollars and they'll love you to death because you come into their country boosting their economy. But when they come here, they gravitate towards the power, which is white people. They fuck with white people. They have kids by white people. They try to date white people. They be sluts for white people. And they cannot stand Americans, blacks, period. And I'm standing on it. I don't care if this video gets posted 10 years from now and I'm famous. I'm not going to take it back. I said what I said. It's not going to be no, well, I retract that statement. And yeah, no, it's not going to be none of that. You know, we have some people get these huge contracts later on to host a show and some old clips pop up. I'm not taking none of that back. I said what I said. I lived it. Them people will spit on you. Now, as far as now, in 2026, I can't tell you how the dynamics rolls now. If the blacks have and the Haitians and the Jamaicans have all come together as one. I don't know. I'm telling you about the 80s and early 90s when I was there. Them people didn't fuck with us like that. So we goes to Miami. Aunt marries a woman from the Bermuda, Bahamian or Bermuda or something like that. And she was a nice light-skinned lady with little freckles on her face. She was cool, but she didn't want kids. And she didn't have any kids, and her and my uncle didn't have any kids. I'm getting my coffee in me. The woman actually felt like Aunt was trying to force kids on her. I heard them arguing about it. So now you have invited my mom and her 4 kids down here to Miami to live, and you ain't had your wife in check yet. And I know that sound crazy for me saying that, but you married this woman, so you got to have at least some kind of, hey, they're coming down here temporarily, be cool with it. It seemed like he never even spoke to her about it. I don't even know what that was about. But we gets down there, I immediately get into it with some Haitian kids in school. Because I think one of the boys liked it, my sister. But he was picking at her about because that's what my sister used to do. She used to suck her thumb. So I told the kid once, stop playing, leave my sister alone. He didn't listen. So I beat the hell out of him after school. Now mind you, I've always been bigger than most kids in school. All of my uncles are 6'1" and up. We are like the runts of the family. 5'11", 6 foot. All of my uncles are giants, big dudes. So after I told him once, so now I'm getting in trouble in school. Mom has to deal with me and my uncle's wife. She don't want us there. And struggle with finding a job. With all of the Haitians and Puerto Ricans trying to deny her because she's a black American, they really don't want her in here. I mean, when I tell you these people were bigots, I mean that. Haitians and Jamaicans and Puerto Ricans and Venezuelans and Cubans, them people don't fuck with us like that down there. Now, I don't know about when they come to New York. I don't know about when they come to North Carolina and hang out or live. When they go outside of Florida, I don't know. I'm talking about Florida. Them folks down there do not fuck with black Americans. So now, we got a problem. I done came home suspended from fighting. My mother trying to find a job. His wife want us out, or she threatened to leave my uncle. My mom said, you know what, Rodney? Me and my babies, we'll just leave. I don't wanna mess up your marriage. We'll just leave. I saw my mom get up, pack up all of our stuff, and drove us down to the gas station down the street from my uncle's house. And we locked the doors, and that's where we slept for 2 or 3 days. We were basically homeless in Miami. Let that sink in for a little bit. This goes to the strength of my mom. She said she wasn't giving up. She's going to find a better life and a better way for her kids in Chicago. So now she called one of her baby daddies up. She couldn't call my brother's father because of course the beatings and stuff like that. So she called my sister's father, and he was going to wire her $150 for gas. In the meantime, Mom told me to go in the bathroom and wash your brother up the best you can. Y'all going to school anyway. I said, Mom, we got the same clothes on. I can't go to school like this. I'm going to be having a fight. Somebody say something about my clothes, wearing the same clothes every day, I'm going to slap the shit out of one of them. She was like, son, you're going to school. Again, I'm giving my mom her flowers because she showed such strength and resilience. Early in my life, I seen it. Some women think that when I date them, that I'm hard on them. I'm not. One of my ex-girlfriends was driving my car and didn't have a license. I didn't know it. She 30-something years old. I thought she had a valid license. She wound up getting stopped. They called me. I had to go down there, and I told her, why are you driving my car with no license? I called down there to find out how much her license was. The woman told me it's $25. $25 because she parked somewhere where she wasn't supposed to park, and the meter lady gave her a no parking ticket. You can't park here. You know how you parking like the EMS zone where the ambulance supposed to park? You're not supposed to park there. So they gave her a $25 ticket. She didn't pay it. She hasn't had a license in 5 years. Over $25. This is just a small sample of what you go through with modern day women, and they think I'm hard on them after growing up with a mom like this. And I'm not saying that women have to be compared to somebody's mother. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is when you see strength and resilience out of a woman, out of your aunties, out of your grandmother, who would go to the thrift store because she needed a couch. She didn't have the money to buy a couch. When the car breaks down, you jump on the bus and get to work anyway. And then you have to deal with women who say, I ain't getting on no bus. Somebody need to come get me, or I just ain't going to work. Are you joking right now? This is the difference between the tough and resilient women of the 50s and 60s that I grew up with, that I know, than the women that I have dated over the last 12 to 13 years. And the shit is sad. Even the 40-year-old women, straight bums. Straight bums. So now, we in Florida, in Miami, this is my last day of school because we finna leave and go back home. We got the U-Haul hooked up to the back of the station wagon. These kids had a plan for me. Sorry, not sorry. That plan didn't work. They went and got their cousin from the high school, which was across the street. He was a Haitian kid, to jump on me. Because all the kids in the junior high, I'm bigger than you. And I'm quick to throw hands. We from Chicago. We ain't taking that shit for no Haitians and Puerto Ricans and all that. We're going to fight you. That's how I'm thinking. So now, school bell rang. I had a couple of people laughing and behind my back because I had my same clothes on and shit, but they didn't say it to my face. So after school, we started walking back to the station wagon. We walked past my uncle's house, and then they brought up 3 Haitians and another 2 boys that came from the high school. I already caught wind of them trying to do something to me. So I did what my uncles told me to do in Chicago years ago. Uncle Tony, may he rest in peace, he said, nephew, if you know a gang of niggas finna jump on you, you grab the biggest one, the loudest one, and you fall on top of him and you choke him out. While the rest of his buddies kicking your ass, you kill him, hurt him, put him in the hospital. That way you go to the hospital, one of theirs going to the hospital. And that's exactly how he told me to do it. I took some paper clips in my last period class because I knew I was going to have to fight this kid from the high school. I undid the paper clips, wrapped it around my fingers, and I stuck the pointed ends out. I stuck the pointed ends out like brass knuckles. So now, when the kids come up at me, I knock him out. He falls straight like a tree. The rest of them scatter, take off running. I beat him for at least a good 10-15 seconds just to give him that message. And plus I was frustrated to see my mother, my strong mother, back to back go through these trials and tribulations. And I promise I will always protect my family. That's why it's strange to me when I hear family members or people who have big families say fuck family. It's about the family you create, not the family you came from. I beg to differ. People who believe that way, that's because you probably done burnt bridges with your family. That's why you gotta go out here and create another family. I don't do that. I don't care if my family drunks, crackheads, poor, rich, you a Gentry or a Jones, you my family. There's always been that head of the family that stick up for family. Even while the younger cousins and the younger brothers and younger sisters marry off into other families and create their own family, there's always a Gentry or a Jones that's the rock of the Gentry and Jones family, period. We're not abandoning that for some new age black thinking, some new age black thought. Fuck your new age black thought. My blood is thicker than your water. So I get in the station wagon with my mom, and I can see it in her face. She's depressed, she's hungry, she's homeless, her kids are hungry, and now she has to drive all the way back to Chicago from Miami, Florida. We went and got some bread, we went and got some luncheon meat. I'm sitting in the back seat because I didn't want to sit in the front seat with my mom with my bloody hands. I didn't even have time to wash my hands. By the time we got to Atlanta, and this is for the people that's listening to me on Iheart Radio that's from Atlanta, there's a wall when you enter in Atlanta that has like a octagon concrete blocks. My mother almost fell asleep and hit that wall. I grabbed the steering wheel, I jumped on the front seat, grabbed the steering wheel, and she slapped my hand. She said, "Don't be grabbing this steering wheel." I said, "Mom, you almost fell asleep." So she pulled over, locked the doors, and went to sleep for a couple of hours. I took those bloody makeshift brass knuckles off, rolled the window down, and tossed them out the window. And that's how we left Miami. Now, mind you, this was before we moved to Tennessee and North Carolina. This is before I met a lot of friends in North Carolina and Tennessee. And I wanted to give my mom her flowers because she sat there when we got back to grandma's house and she didn't stop. My grandfather's cousin was living in Tennessee because a lot of gentry came from Tennessee. So my mother said, you know what? I'm going to go back to the roots. You know, Uncle Jack's sister, Gaddy Mae, lives in Tennessee. And Uncle Jack was like the rock of the family. So I'm going to move to Tennessee. So she packed us up and we moved again to Tennessee. And the rest is history. As far as my mother joining the military, she didn't let her ex-husband, who was in the military at the time, tell her that without him and his military money, she wouldn't make it with her kids. She didn't stand for that. So she said, you know what? I'm going to join the military. And that's what she did. My mother joined the military, served with honor until she jumped out the airplane and landed wrong and broke her ankle. Got pins put in her ankle. They gave her a medical discharge, you know. But overall, the strength and resilience of this woman is like monstrous. Monstrous. That's the reason why when I see women of today, even the ones I date, I'm not comparing you to her because I know everybody's an individual. But you gotta put some type of effort. Some type of effort. My mother was never a bum. Never. My mother didn't leave us except for when she went to basic training. And she had to go overseas to the first Gulf War. And she sent us back to Chicago and back to Wisconsin. But other than that, this was the only time she left us. She didn't leave us with grandmama and them while she go live her best life somewhere. She didn't do none of that. We wasn't walking around snotty nose. We didn't have fine clothes like all the other kids and the middle class and rich kids. But we ate and we had clothes on our backs. We didn't have Nikes. We had Wilsons. We didn't have Nikes. We had Wilsons. You know. We had Puma. You know, we had the off-brand stuff. We couldn't afford the Nikes. We couldn't afford the Reeboks. But she was there. She was present. I just couldn't stand being poor anymore. As I'm growing up into a man. And I left home. I went out and hustled. I went out and got in trouble. Some people say troublemakers and all of this is raised by troublemakers, and that was never the case. Poverty was my driving force. But it was a poverty that my mother learned to navigate through with her 4 kids, and didn't give up herself morally. And that's why I'm giving my mom her flowers while she's still here. And I'm going to do everything I can to help her navigate this stroke. For all my mother's church members at First Baptist Church who know mom, who went to church with her, she will be in Humboldt and at the rehabilitation center for vets, trying to get her to walk again. And I'll probably come by to the churches and that she attended over the years to give you guys her address, so you can go visit her. And if you got a church van that picks members up, I would hope, even if I got to give you some gas money because she misses her church, for you guys to come and pick her up. I know some of you have been in contact with her, but some of you didn't even know that she had suffered a stroke. The toughest woman I know. I'm gonna end this today. This is the first show of the season, and it's gonna be a good 2026. We're gonna make some money. We're gonna do some stock trading. We're gonna drive some trucks. We're gonna go on vacations. We're gonna do some good things in 2026. And I just want to let you all know, family that watches my show, that mom's gonna be okay. She's 72. Father Time is undefeated. But I have confidence that if any person can start walking again after a major stroke, it'll be her. I know it'll be her. She will get back on her feet eventually. It won't be the same. She won't be able to walk like she used to. But I have confidence that she's going to try her hardest. And even if she got to shuffle, she gonna bring her tangerine to work, to church, and she gonna praise Jesus like she always been doing until her final days. This is the Daily Read, and I'm out.